Hi everybody, welcome to my second clip in this Disney Infinity May the 4th community event. My second clip today is a challenge to any enthusiastic or game creator wannabe out there. I'm going to show you how I created my Tatooine racing level from my earlier clip this morning. And I'm challenging anybody else that they can create their own level and get it posted. Now, I kept on explaining that level, how easy it was to build it. And this clip, from start to finish, which takes no more than 25 minutes, is going to show you every stage on how to create your own racing track. So I'm going to go through each stage. You can follow it. If you've never created a toy box level, this is the way to jump in now. Start learning how to create games. So I'm going to start from a blank canvas and build it all in one go. I'm not even going to edit the clip. It's going to be in one take because that's how quick it is. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the ground to Tatooine. So you press your triangle on, if you're on a PlayStation owner, you go to your colours and you choose the Tatooine colour. So I now have the Tatooine ground and I set that as my main theme. So now I go and filter for terrain and I go and find the slope terrains, and I'm looking for these half curves, and the semicircle one is the one I require. And you can place these anywhere because the hub's going to be the main point, and this is where you're now creating the walls for your circuit. So you'll see here I'm selecting certain pieces and I've got these little stumps. I need 3 of these, but I'm just going to go and create a circuit. Basically, you now just map out your shape. I'm now creating like the canyon, as in Tatooine, so the catch where the race is going to be. So I'm doing 3 of these items across. Now, you don't have to do the exact same circuit, by the way. Come up with your own layout. Come up with your own design. If you look at my previous clip that I released earlier today, you'll see that I've done stuff that are raised. I've done lava clips, city clips. There's so many different types you could use, but all I'm doing now is just drawing out how I would like the racetrack to look. So just move the pieces together and daisy chain the layout as it goes. It's relatively as simple as that. And what I found with this level here is that you don't want them too wide. You don't want the track too big. So you want to keep them normally about probably this square's width. So the medium-sized square that I've used is quite good. That's a good width. Gives you a bit of leeway on the side of the track you want, because you still want a bit of skill. If it's too much space, then it's just there's no danger to it. You want to avoid hitting the barrier. Hitting the barrier will slow you down. You're trying to get that perfect line. So you can put these together on the screen. Now, I know everyone struggles trying to get hold of time and more importantly, it's normally trying to think of the ideas. But sometimes just a straightforward racing game is just a fun game, what it is, and try and do different things to it. What I found is, and this is what I found when I was doing it, because I tried to work out what was my theme this year going to be. And my theme was, how do I make quick, easy level? How can I show people that Disney Infinity doesn't have to be a complex number of triggers? I mean, don't get me wrong, I like challenging myself with those things, but they take a lot of time and effort. And when they don't work, it's so infuriating. So you want something that's going to work. And how do you get into game design? And then this is the great step. Start off small, start off easy. Sometimes the Infinity levels are just sometimes too daunting to start. Like, this is going to be too big, I can't think of it. I know we had some people say they couldn't pull out from the event like months in advance, like it's months away. And so it's because it's too overwhelming to think of where to start from. And that you go back to go small, go just a small little level, got to collecting something, whether you've got to shoot a target, and then as soon as you start building, you start thinking of different ideas. Oh, hold on, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I think I myself forget that's what happens. Yeah, that creative part switches my brain off of all the chaos that's going outside of the world, and I find it so relaxing. Yeah, just coming. Okay, what if I do this? What if I could do that? Yeah. Don't get me wrong, because Disney Infinity no longer it's a 10-year-old game. Because Disney Infinity isn't getting the update, it does sometimes get infuriating. Why can't it do that? So you have to find a way around to make it work. And I've tried to embrace that now to say, well, if it doesn't do that, what's the challenging way to make it work? And so I try and get past those things, because those hiccups tend to used to not want to play the game. But the assets, all the ships, all the vehicles, all the character design is so good, and it is a fun game. But this just putting pieces together is so relaxing. I love it. And the one thing I like about this, you can do it together. 2 people can be building the same track at the same time. So give it a go. Yeah, it really is not going to take much time. So if you haven't posted any clips for this Star Wars event, or you've never actually done a toy box level, This is the day you start. Give it a go. Get in. This is you're creating your own game. Yeah, and then you'll go, well, I want more things to it, and then as soon as you start putting more things to it, you're now becoming a game designer. You're now going to start cooking and start making the game come together, and you want to find out how this thing works, because this game is so easy to build in. It's brilliant, and the fact that it came out 10 years ago and no one worked it out, no one's cracked the formula. It's mental. Just by the way, these guys that created this game did the Hogwarts game. They know what they were doing. It's just absolutely brilliant. But you'll see here, I'm just doing the top level. Yeah. Now, you've noticed I've not put the ground level in for where the track is. Now, to make it stand out, I'm going to have the landscape a different colour. And that way the contrast is quite clear and you can see the track. Because if you look at my clip I played an hour ago, when I did the desert scene with the pod racers, it was too bland and you couldn't see it when you did an aerial view. So the two contrast sometimes needs to be quite good. So I'm just putting the map area around. So that's all the area that I need. Now what I'm going to do is just put a landscape in, and I'm going to change that to a different colour. So I'm going to use the Wild West one. I can never pronounce what that one's called. Let's go and find it. Let's have a look at it. It's one of these ones, not Buried Treasure. Because it looks like track. So I quite like it because it actually looks like track. And I'm not going to even try and pronounce it. It's that one. Yep, that's the one. The country one. But this one's quite good because it gives you that feeling of things. So I'm going to set the theme. Don't do a theme all because everything goes. And then I'm going to apply that. So then I'm going to move that box. And we'll put that down. So we're 6 minutes into this clip. And I already have my track built. Yeah. So my track's built within 6 minutes. Right. All I've got to do on top of that is add the logic stuff, and that logic takes stuff. So we're still putting the track in, but we're almost there now. So as you'll see, we're coming through here. And on a Star Wars day, if it's raining, I don't know what the forecast is for today, but if it's raining where you are and you've got that dude, and you've got 20 minutes, post a clip. If you've done a track and you've posted a clip, I'm happy to have a look at it and watch it. So send me a link through. I know sometimes trying to do a voiceover becomes tricky. Just screen capture it, just play the clip. Say, here's my Disney Infinity racetrack. That's it. So look, our track is done. How simple is that? Okay. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a simple basic block shape, a very flat little tool, and I'm going to what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to make this my starting line. Where do I want my starting line to appear? So I'm going to do on here. Now obviously that grey colour is the wrong one, so I'm going to go onto it, press triangle, gets me colour palette up, and I'm going to look for the checkered boxes. There's one we've got a checkered, and that will do. So you click on that. So I set the theme by pressing square and then X to apply it, and then when I come off it, I can then all my pieces are now coloured like that. So then when I go back into my spark tool off there, I can now just go and just put that across. Boom, track done. Now we have to do the programming logic. Now there are various different ways, and you'll see loads of tutorial clips, and over the last 10 years I've done loads of clips of different logic and different ways of doing things, and I've seen so many people do different ways. Now in programming, there's never a wrong or right way. If it works, then it works, right? There's always ways to be more clever with your code, to streamline it, to take less memory up, but you're not worrying about that. You're just worrying, does the program work? And you are now programming here now. So you'll see here I'm going to get a challenge marker. That's what I'm going to pick on the screen. I'm going to need some locators, so I need 3 of these. So I need 3 of these locators. Right, I'm going to need some logic gates, and we'll explain all the use of these but these are all you're going to need. So I need a logic gate. Where's the logic gate? I can't find it here. There's so many little options here. The logic gate is like your ands and if statements in programming. And if you've ever done a Mac or a spreadsheet, they're genius bits of code. But these are so clever how they use them, because that's what they are. And if your parents don't want you doing this, you are actually game designing. So if you've got someone saying, you're on the computer, PlayStation, if you can create this, this is brilliant. Right, and we need the scoreboard, by the way, because the scoreboard's going to keep hold of the score. Well, not the score, sorry, obviously the score, duh. It's actually keep a track of the laps you've done. Right, and we're going to do a challenge timer. The timer is purely if I'm doing a solo game, because it doesn't matter, I'm always going to win the race because it's a solo thing, but I want to know how quick I've done it. And these 2 trigger areas are going to control the way I can't cheat if I want to do a quick lap. I'll explain that as we go through. Right, so that is all the logic, apart from the camera views, is all we're going to need. That's it. All we've got to do now is put the connections in. So there's a few little connections in there. And this sometimes is what puts people off. There's just too much to do. But we'll go through each one and see how you go from there. So with the challenge marker, what we're going to do is we're going to sort the locators out. Now, I've got here new logic connection, which is wrong. Should have done that. Come back. I need to choose locator connection, which is the one down. And I'm going to link to these locators. Okay? And I'm going to do all players, player 1. So all players will start there. So we'll do it again. New locator connection, but this time, when I point to here, one's already gone, so it's player 2. We'll start here, and we'll do another one again, and this one, new locator connection. Well, there's only 2 players in this version, so why am I doing anyone else? Well, actually, it's where you end. Now, just because you've set that doesn't mean that's where they're going to start. You have to set that in the locator, so we're still not finished yet. But now we're going to go and put that locator where we want player 1 to start. And we're going to go and place it on the screen. Now, place that on the screen down so it's sitting on just so it pots down right on top of the track. Now, one thing you need to make sure is the person is pointing in the right direction. If you look, there's a very faint little blue dot on one end. It's very fine to see. You just need to twist that round so it's pointed. So if you look, it's pointing in the direction of the track. That's it. That's what I want. So when the vehicle starts, it's pointing the right way. Okay, and we do the second one. We grab that. Same thing again, place that for player 2, so you've got your 2-player game. So we're 10 minutes in, by the way. We're cooking on gas. Look at that. This is all you have to do. Now, I did another level, how to create like a wave fighting game level. That took about 16 minutes to do, so this is very quick. And this is all one take, by the way. So I thought I'd just leave it recorded so you can see I haven't edited the video. This is how long it will take. Very short tool. Okay, so this is my starting thing. So when a player 1 enters this area, it's going to record that they've done a lap. So it's going to fire a little signal into here. So I'm going to input a signal into there. Okay, so that's when player 1. And when player 2 enters into that, so when we enter there, player 2 goes into it, he's going to do the other side. So player 2 goes in the other route. So one's for player 1, one's for player 2. Okay, so what happens here is, right, player 1, can you put a signal through? So what we'll say is, new logic connection, and this is not on output, by the way. Right, it's not output. I've done that wrong, so cancel that. That's wrong. It shouldn't be there. Sorry. Let's go back. So when we go into here, when that gate is closed, we know they've done a logic. So you actually do input blocked. When input blocked, can you input a signal into here, which goes through? And if that's the case, can you increase the counter? New logic connection, increase the counter for player 1 by 1. So if the gate has been, if we've registered they've done a lap, we will close the other gate so it will stop the signal, and when they go through the line, it will pass it through. The default view for all logic gates are open, you see, so that it won't record it when you start the line. And I'm going to do exactly the same for the other one. So the other way on the side, when input blocked, input a signal into this one, and then on output, so on that logic there, new logic connection, on output, can we increase the score for player 2? So increment by 1 for player 2. Right, now, to stop the person reversing back and going through the area again, what we're going to do now is we're going to open the gate. So new logic connection. So when we've sent the signal through because it was blocked, so we'll do new logic connection on output. Can we open that gate? Which means if I drive back into it again, it's got to be closed before all the signal to go through, so it doesn't matter. So I can't just reverse back forward over the line. So it's like a little cheat mechanism. So on output, I'm going to close the gate. So it basically sends a signal back and closes it. So the signal comes through on the screen. Now this logic gate is going to be halfway round the track, which means the driver had to be on the other side, and if they go through that, then I know they're nowhere near the place. So to get back, they have to go to the screen so they can't cheat. So when player 1's in there, can we then close that gate? So then when I go through it again, it will pick it on the screen. So a logic gate is entered. When player 2 goes into here, can we close that gate? Yeah, and when that gate is closed, okay, that's it. So they are now tagging my scoreboard. And if we go to the properties of that scoreboard's set to 3. So if I wanted 5 laps, I'd change that to 5 laps or 10 laps or so on. Now, I do want to see I want to see everybody's score. So if they've done a lap, I want to see the whole score. So I want it visible, I want it displayed, and I've set it to 3 laps, which is brilliant. Now, new logic connection. When the target reaches 3, so whoever reaches 3 first goes into there, and it completes the game. The game is finished. Yeah. And another logic thing is we're going to go down to here, and what we'll do is when we start the thing, so new logic connection, when we start the game, can we reset the score? Can we reset that? So reset it, so we've got a brand new score, so we're back to 0 again, which is quite handy. Okay, so that'll keep the track of that one there on the screen. Right, so next one, new logic connection. When we start the thing again, what we're also going to do is can we start the timer? Because what I want to do is when you start the timer, and that will then just keep the clock on the screen, and that will keep a track of that. So if I go to properties of that, I don't want a countdown, so switch the countdown off. So that will just show me the time ticking on the screen, which is good. Right, all I do need to now is go and reposition these over the right location. So just to remind you again, a logic gate, if it's open, when you load up a game, it's always open. So the logic has to be closed for it to be registered. So when you cross the line the first time, it doesn't count as a lap. So that's why I've done it on close. So the first time it just drives straight through. Nothing gets registered. Right? Then, when the driver drives around the circuit, so when whoever's in lead's gone round, I want it in a position that they can't cheat back. So I'm going to put it somewhere which is about halfway. So there's a lot of twists and turns. So if I put it about here, yeah. If they go through here, then they're quite away from the start. So then I will open up. Well, I will actually do the opposite. I will lock the gate. So when I go through the other option end, it will then register that as a count. So that's my position on the track. That's set and done. Right. And when I finish the game, that is where I'm going to finish the location. I'm just going to move this here. Okay, so that's that done. We're 17 minutes into this clip so far, which is not too bad. Right, what else do I need? I need one more thing, or I do need a trigger area, I think. What do I need? Where am I going? Yeah, another trigger area. Right, what this trigger area is, I put it in front of it because then I can use it to change the colour. But when I finish the game, the timer will be on the screen. So when entered, any player enters it, can you reset? Can you basically reset the clock? So reset the clock so we start the race again. I think I missed one link on this clip. I think I've missed out the timer, and I need 2 cameras as well. Now you can only link one challenge marker to one camera. So there's 2 types of cameras you've got. You've either got the top-down view or the bottom view. I'm going to show you how I set both of them up, but you can only be linked to one of them. So if I go to properties of that camera, this is the one at 45 degrees. What I do is I go down here. Do I want the glow view? I want that off. I don't want it to be glowing through on the bottom, right? Can you use the camera to zoom in the distance? Nope, I don't want to set the zoom. And what is zoom distance? Now I found 65 was the right height to give you enough space to see the vehicle and the angles as well. Yeah, and you can set it off a different angle. Quite happy with that. Rotate, that is off. Don't want you to rotate the camera. The camera is fixed. And that's it. That's it set. Now that camera doesn't come on until you trigger it. Now I need to do the same with the other camera as well. For 65 is the height. So if I come out here and do the same with the other camera. So this is the vertical one. So I do new properties. Again, straight down to the option. Make sure the glow's off. Make sure you can't rotate it. And in this case, you're going to set that to 65. It's like the same. And you can change around the height, whatever you want them to be. Now, what I'm going to do here is what you need to do now is to work out which one do you want it to be. Do you want to be the 3D, the one at an angle, or the variable one? Now, in this example, I'm going to choose the other one. So I'm saying on new logic connection, when we start the race, can you start? I'm going to choose that one, but you could choose either one of those, but you can only link it to one. Yeah. So I'm going to do activate. So that one's activated. Now, it will stay in that view. So what I'm going to do here is when I enter that trigger area, when I finish to go and do another race, I'm going to switch the camera back off. So I'm going to do new logic connection on entered, yeah, by any player. Do any player, doesn't really matter. Can you switch that camera off? Okay, so we've now got the camera switched off. That's it set up and done. Yeah. Now, at this point, I was thinking, right, I've got it, I'm all ready to go. I think I've cracked anything. But it's a very important thing. We still haven't finished. Although we've done all the logic that we need, we still haven't actually finished the settings on the game, the challenge maker. So there's one thing I forgot to do on there. So let's just go back into this thing here. This is the thing I forgot to change. I was about to start it, then I realised, like, nope, that's not the case. Hold on a second. Because what I forgot to tell is, well, what type of game is it going to be? So in this thing, I go to properties. And what I've gone down here is it's high to low points, which is good. Yep. We've got end user level on the screen. Yep. So we go down here and go, well, what do you want it to be? So the end location is where we're going to end, because although I've set it location, I want to use locator so it finishes at the end. And now I'm going to change the type to say you can use all vehicles and mounts. No, you can only use one vehicle, which is ground vehicles. Okay, it now says any vehicle, and you go, nope, I'm going to pick the vehicle that you've got. So default group, nope, you can do any. And strangely enough, the land speeder is in the toy box area, but you can pick different one. Loot speakers in there. Right, so there's the vehicle you're going to use. Now we're set up. Now there's one thing I forgot to do, and that is on the new logic. So I would do one more link, and that would be on the challenge marker. When the game's completed, stop the clock. That's the one thing I forgot to do. I forgot to stop the clock. But it's too late now. I've done the recording. So here we go, and across the line, and the camera should kick in as soon as it starts. Boom. We're 3 and away we go. Clock is ticking, which is all right. The only thing I forgot to do was stop it. But my track is done. We're 20 minutes into this, by the way. Track's finished. So I like it. It's only taking 20 minutes to do the track. So this is just me testing it, checking it all works, come around. So 20 minutes and I've got a whole level done. As you can see, I do need to practice my driving. Now, if that's not got your time to join in this community, get a load of clips out. If we get loads of clips out, by the way, we show the internet just get bamboozled with loads of Disney Infinity clips. They go, hold on, what's going on here? Someone might make the game, you never know. So if you've been toying about doing a toy box, you've never thought of doing it, give this one a go. It will take no more. If you're playing this clip and doing it stages, I would say probably take you 40 minutes. It's the first time you've ever done it. But I've given you all the tips here now. And the way you build it. There are no excuses. And I'd love to see your ideas of what other stuff you've chucked in there. So all the logic's been done. There's nothing else done on the screen. Come to final out. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Push. Done it. Yay. As you can see, I forgot to stop the clock. Nope. So on game completion, stop the clock is what I should have done. So I knew I messed that one up. And there we done it. There we finished. So as I walk forward to go and have another game, you switch the camera off. The clock resets. And I can do my other challenge of the game. Now, all you need to do now is start making it look pretty. And that's the easy fun bit. So what other stuff do you want to put around the side? So we just go back up to the map. So do we want to put any buildings on there? Do we want to put any things in the way just to give it that aesthetic look? So we just go and plonk pieces down. How easy is that? So come on, if you've never done a toy box or you thought I must be able to do it, challenge yourself. What planet are you? What Star Wars? Out of the Star Wars planet, which ones are you going to do? Are you going to do a Mandalorian race track? Are you going to do like do something in Mandalore? Are you going to do like a Scarif track? I thought a couple of Scarif tracks to do. They're quite good because you've got a little water and I can have a couple of AT-ATs to go through. Are you going to do a Death Star track? I've got an idea with Death Stars, like platforms removing and retracting. Are you going to do, what else ones can you do? So there's Geonosis. What about Geonosis one? Geonosis have got all those old walls and pillars stuff there. That'd be quite good. And then the question is, what objects are you going to have in the way that's going to stop it doing? Are you going to make the track go slim? Are you going to make it go dangerous? Are you going to have lava? You don't have to do any more logic. You just got to position the objects in there. And as you start doing it, you go, well, I do want to add a bit of lava. How do I get it to explode? How do I get certain triggers to happen? How do I get certain enemies to appear? And that's the one thing I probably got wrong with this clip. I did this. I called this Motorfest, so you could do it as Motorfest. But the one thing I like about Motorfest is that you can drive cars, boats, and planes. Now, the one thing I should be able to do is you can do spaceships in here. So I should do a spaceship circuit. What if I did around the circuit, little circuit rings, so you could collect spaceships? There's so many different things you can do with this. And now you're all ready to go. Once you've got it looking right, give it a test. And let's see how it looks. A couple of little rocks on. So we start now, look, the background's in there, sets the theme up, we've got the pods up, and away we go. How easy is that? So come on then, if you've got nothing else to do today, waste an hour of your time having the best fun ever playing Disney Infinity on Star Wars Day. Oh yeah, and also, what's your Star Wars film you're going to watch today? Anyone watch anything? I'm all up to date with Andor, so I'm probably going to watch, I don't know, I think I am going to watch Revenge of the Sith. I think that's my choice. Everyone have a great Star Wars Day. Look, check everybody else's clips out, and we'll speak to you soon.